Hey guys, what's up? Surma11 here. Today I'm going to be reviewing Kid Icarus Uprising for the Nintendo 3DS system. Before I start this review, how about I give some history on the franchise? So basically, Kid Icarus came out in Japan on December 1986, and in Europe and North America in February and July 1987. It's also known as Light Mythology Palutena's Mirror, and it's known as a cult classic. While developing the game, workers had to sleep at work to meet the deadline. While I've heard many people say that Kid Icarus Uprising is the second game in the Kid Icarus series, that is untrue. A sequel to the original known as Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters was released in North America on November 5th, 1991, and in Europe on May 21st, 1992 for the Game Boy. In Japan, it was an import. Kid Icarus Uprising was developed by Project Sora, who has Masahiro Sakurai, creator of Smash Bros. And the Kirby series. It clearly shows that he worked on the game. The game has Smash Bros. References like the menu and the practice mode. Heck, there's even plenty of throwbacks to the original NES game. There's enough references to the point where it feels like a sequel, but can also be taken as a new game for people new to the franchise. I'm sorry, my alarm went off. The story of Kid Icarus Uprising involves Pit and Lady Palutena fighting Medusa and other gods and goddesses. I have to praise the game on the designs of each world/area. They are very diverse and reflect the god that they are based on. Also, the designs of the different gods are really nice as well. Pit's ability of flight is limited, so he can only fly for a short period of time. Thank Palutena. You'll understand what I mean by that in a second. There's two types of battles, air battles and land battles. Air battles suck. They just suck. For the beginning of most of the game's levels, Pit flies and fights for a little bit. Lady Palutena grants him the ability of flight for 5 minutes before his wings burn up. I'm happy about this because the controls in the game are bad already. While flying, you can move Pit around and move the cursor around to shoot. I pretty much only moved Pit. The controls are terrible. I'm sorry if some people take offense to that or they don't want to hear that. It's the truth. I can't do all of this at once. You have one hand to move Pit, the touch screen to move the crosshair, the other hand is what you use to shoot with. I can't do all of that at once. This is why the Nintendo 3DS should have had 2 circle pads and not a freaking add-on. Now, land battles were awesome, but still could have had better controls. Basically, after the air battle, Pit fights enemies on the ground and he can slash or shoot them close up or far away. It's a way better experience, and I would have preferred the whole game to be like this. There's one chapter in the game where something big happens, and I really like the whole situation with the ring. You'll know what I'm talking about once you play it. Also on land, the game has arrows telling you where to go. If you go off path, you'll probably find more secrets. By the way, throughout these two types of battles, the game has some really dynamic and great camera work. They did good there. The game comes with a stand. What for? I tried using it and I didn't see what the purpose of the stand was. The comedy in this game is bad as well. Bad comedy and bad controls. The game shot itself in the foot, right? Well, not really. While this game isn't funny, and this was my face during the jokes, I felt more immersed in it compared to Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. I felt like this game had more life, you know? The game is pretty much one big commentary, and the game isn't afraid to break the fourth wall or make fun of itself. For example, the game will point out the fact that Pit poses before a boss fight. It's also nice to have all this voice acting packed into a game, except for the fact that it doesn't have many cutscenes. I've stated this in many videos that I like cutscenes. Cutscenes are definitely one of my favorite parts of video games, and in this game I liked most of the cutscenes. One dislike I did have early on was that the characters were chatting throughout the boss fights, and I had to pick one. It's really difficult to listen and comprehend and fight the boss at the same time. I don't want to sound completely negative, because after a while I really began to enjoy the dialogue. It's just at some points it's not really necessary in the game. I think there's another game for the Nintendo 3DS that has full voice acting. Not Kingdom Hearts. Fire Emblem Awakening, another game I want to try out, that has full voice acting as well. The game sports a ton of weapons. If you're into collecting everything, I'm sure you'll have fun. You can replay each chapter in the game and attempt to get all of them if you want. You can also fuse weapons together to create new ones. For me, it wasn't about the power of the weapon, it was more about which weapon was easier for me to use. Whether it fired faster than other ones, that was a really big factor in which weapon I picked. But there's loads of weapons, from guns to cannons to swords to a giant fist and more. So you should be able to find whatever weapon you like. For each chapter in the game, you can change the difficulty. Bad feature. Very bad feature. You're probably saying, why do you think this? I love to change the difficulty of the game. Well, for me it's bad because I felt like the bosses were too easy. I like it better when the game gets harder on its own. The developers do all that stuff. I don't have to change it myself. The game sets the bar and then I have to reach it, you know. When I made the difficulty harder, there were tons of enemies, and I think the bosses were still easy. It's weird the way this system was made. I couldn't up the difficulty because I couldn't defeat all the enemies. If you bump up the difficulty, the game will have something waiting for you on some levels. It's not like the game is super hard unless you make it that way. It's just the fact that the way you heal in this game makes it harder. Enemies either drop fruit and other items for you to heal right then and there. Also, Pit has an ability that doesn't give him much health but can be upgraded. And sometimes there are hot springs which heals Pit's health. I'm sorry. I have this alarm for something. Yeah. The graphics in this game aren't bad at all. I don't want you to get that mindset. It's just the fact that the graphics kind of made me sick sometimes, and I didn't even use the 3D. Some games do that to me, so I don't want to, mess you up, make you think there's something wrong with the game. There's nothing wrong with it. Also, since this review is almost over and I don't really know where to put this in the review, Dark Pit was my favorite character in the game. Kid Icarus Uprising for the Nintendo 3DS had bad controls and bad comedy, but that doesn't completely harm the experience. The game is pretty long and worth its normal price. I got the game on sale for around $15 to $17, I think. After a while, I grew to like the voice acting. The character designs are great, and perhaps this game will be the one to open up new doors for this series. Kid Icarus Uprising earns an 8 out of 10. You should definitely check this game out. Also, there's even a few short anime episodes for this game. I'm not too sure if this would do good as a full anime series, but for now we can enjoy these shorts, and I'll try to put those in the description. Thanks for watching my review, guys. I worked really hard on this one. Expect more video game reviews later this year. Facebook and Twitter links are in the description. Well, I'm off to the hot springs. Later.